Guns up, Poke fans. It's time for PokeCast. Broadcasting live at Mr. Bill's Seafood Express, located at 500 East McNeese Street in Lake Charles. Now, here's your host, Jim Gazzolo.
Hey, it's a brand new month here at the PokeCast. Jim Gazzolo with you, joining us from Mr. Bill's right across campus. Good crowd tonight. Don't forget to ask your questions if you're in the crowd. Just raise your hand. We'll get a microphone out to you. Lots of things to talk about. Obviously, football is topic number one. Gary Goff will join us some point tonight after practice. There's no rain, so he will be here, unlike the 1 week he missed us for the rain. Drew Fitzgerald will start with us. McNeese Soccer. He'll be with us in just a second. Tomorrow night, volleyball takes on Lamar and then goes to Southeastern for a first-place showdown with the Lions. Make sure you check that out if you want to get to the Legacy Center. The Rockets are still there. If you want to check them out, you can. It's not open to the public, but you can sneak in. Take a look if you want to watch the Houston Rockets practice. But Drew Fitzgerald joining us, McNeese Soccer. Coach, how you doing?
Doing great. Happy to be here. Appreciate you having me on.
3-0-1 in league. Surprised by that? Are you in good shape? Or
We're happy about it. How about that? We're happy about where we are. We think we've done a good job so far. I don't think we ever want to say we're surprised we're winning, but we're doing all right.
You play Lamar Sunday.
Lamar
at
Sunday
home?
At home, and Lamar right now top of the league. I'd say certainly wins-wise they're 4-0, and they've been playing really well.
So it's a big showdown for you. You playing for first place?
Should be a really good game. Yeah, Commerce is up there too, so there's three of us kind of at the top right now. So it should be a really, really good game.
I wanted to ask you about your roster. I was checking it out today earlier. You go from California to Europe with kids. How do you get California kids, but how do you get European kids to come here?
Well, I think the international kids aren't too difficult. There's a lot of video out there now, so we're doing a lot of video watching and trying to find the league levels, trying to determine what level they're playing at, because sometimes video can lie to you, so you got to have some backup on that. But you just initiate the conversation, and they want to come over here. They can't over there. They can't go to school and play. That's not an opportunity they have there. So it's just providing them an opportunity they don't have otherwise.
So they'd have to go pro right away if they're that.
They go pro, or they just continue to play in league play, but it's not it's not playing for a university. It's not getting your education. So it's just
it's
adult league basically.
It's interesting because that's such a different way of they play. But do they play better European soccer or different?
I'd say different. The rules of the NCAA make the game interesting because our sub rules are a lot more liberal, so we can play harder, longer. You have to really. There's sub rules there that you're only allowed so many substitutions, so they have to really pace themselves and play more of a tactical game. So we're a bit more physical over here than they are over there.
Now you're scoring. You're led by a freshman. Are you surprised by that a freshman came in and is having this kind of success, or?
No, I think everybody's doing a good job. I think the scoring has been pretty well distributed among the team. So, I think Morgan's done a great job coming in and has produced some goals. But you'll see Magley stepped up now. She's scoring some goals now that she's back healthy. So we just have contributions coming from all over.
Now, there's always been a question at McNeese about how do you do a preseason? Some of them go really tough. What's your philosophy on that?
Well, we shifted it a little this year. So we've always kind of done the hardcore 2-a-days out there in the heat, making sure they're getting acclimated. And this year we took a step back and said we're going to do one session outside a day, and we'll do one inside, lighter session. And in that session we did it in the morning and tried to give them a week before we really hit them with the heat. And that seems to have helped us. We haven't been particularly healthy, but it hasn't been soft tissue injuries we've had. So I think that's helped us ease people in and really get ready. And we've been able to focus on style of play a bit more.
What about the preseason schedule? Do you like to go real tough, or do you have to watch that? Travel costs?
Yeah, travel obviously plays a role. You don't want to get too. You want to have a nice home and away mix, and we want to play games that challenge us and get us ready for conference. And kind of both sides of that. You want to build that confidence. You want to get some wins. You don't want to come in winless and go play 5 SEC teams and have that. You want to be able to figure out who you are too, not just defend. But you want to play those tough battles because your goal is to get the NCAA tournament. You're going to play those teams there.
Yeah. Now getting to the NCAA tournament, basically a one-bid league.
Basically, yeah.
But you have to win the tournament. How do you set up for that? Because you also want to win the regular season. What do you benefit by winning the regular season and then going into the tournament?
Well, the first place team gets a bye into the postseason, so that's nice if you can earn that first place. There's definitely a benefit there. along with just always wanting to win a championship, obviously. But then the other benefit is just seeding through the tournament. So we go to a host location and play at the host location. But if you're the 2 seed, you get to play the 7. So a little bit of a benefit there. And then times are a little better. You kind of want to play in the evening if you can.
And who's the seat? Where's it at?
It's in Corpus Christi this year.
All right. And you've already played there?
No, they played us here, and we've got to go there and play them.
So you play everybody twice in the league?
No, it's a mixed bag. We play everybody once and then 2 teams twice.
Just 2 teams?
Just 2. The league size kind of dictates that, so we wanted 10 games. That's how we got to 10 within league.
What kind of a soccer league is it?
It's getting better. I think the Southland's really, and to be honest, I think some of the coaches that have been coming the last few years into the league have made a big difference for us. So RPIs, you see those climbing a bit. We're still a very physical league, but we're starting to play better soccer, and you see some tactical variation among the teams. It used to be everybody played the same way. Now there's 4 or 5 different styles out there.
Everybody talks about the investment dictates wins, losses, and that. Are you seeing the investment from other schools into soccer?
Yeah, I think certainly everybody in the Southland at this point just about is looking to compete and has nice facilities. There's a few people that maybe lag behind on the facility side, but they have things coming down. It seems like the investment has been in personnel. They've really got the coaching staffs have really improved over the last 5 or 6 years.
So when people go out to watch you play, what do they see?
What
kind of a team do they see? Are you physical?
Our group's really physical. We're really organized and disciplined defensively. It's not always the prettiest soccer on the attacking side. We find ways to counter. I think we've got a really good system where we've set ourselves up for success, where we'll let somebody have a ball, but when we get it, we're going to go and punch them. So we're really a defend and counter team, and within that, you have to be really disciplined and you have to be very physical defensively.
Drew Fitzgerald is with us, McNeese Soccer, playing for first place or portion of first place Sunday at 1 o'clock, right, Lamar?
1 o'clock, yes.
1 o'clock, Lamar. When you look at a team, when you're recruiting kids, soccer's not huge here, but there are a couple of soccer high schools in the area. Are there good kids in this area? Because there doesn't seem to be numbers, but there does seem to be quality.
Yeah, I think if you look at our roster, it's increasingly Louisiana. I think Louisiana soccer is really improving quite a bit. We've had a few kids out of Lake Charles, none on the team this year, but we had 2 that just graduated. Soccer continues to improve here, and we don't really recruit out of high school much, so it's league play and club, and the clubs, especially from Lafayette and Baton Rouge, have gotten a lot stronger.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you that because that is clubs in soccer especially, some volleyball, but soccer especially, really are the bigger deal for your recruiting base.
For sure.
How do you do that when you have to almost treat them as if they're high schools as far as talking to coaches, or is there a big difference because you're not dealing with the same type of counselors and all that? You're dealing with completely different.
Yeah, I don't know what the difference is because we haven't done the high school side, so I can't really speak to the difference. But recruiting club is I would think easier in some ways than high school because everyone we go watch is the same age or within a range, a year or 2. So I can go to a field in Houston and sit on the field all day and see 8 games and see all U17 players. Whereas if I go to a high school game, I've got 4 years of players to filter through for both teams, and the level can really vary. I know what kind of level I'm getting into most club games I go to.
A strange question for you is soccer affected by the COVID still like all other sports, and we see 28-year-old kids playing soccer, or is that kind of wind down now?
We're winding out of it right now, right? So if you look at some rosters, you got a lot of 50 years. We have a couple 50 years. Lamar has several 50 years, and a lot of those are COVID years for people. But it's kind of the tail end of that, right? Maybe one more year of it, and then we're kind of back onto a normal cycle.
How hard was it to pick up after that?
I think it was really difficult for us, like everybody here. I mean, everybody here knows we had a COVID plus a hurricane all hit at the same time, ice storm, all of that. So, yeah, it was tough. But, the nice thing about sports, it brings you together and gives you an opportunity to do something together, and that's what everybody wanted during COVID was that sense of community.
What are we going to see with Lamar? What does Lamar bring? What do you have to do against Lamar to be successful? Yeah,
Lamar is really an athletic group. They've got a great player from England playing forward, midfield for him. Another player, Cowgirl, forward. She's between the two of them, they're leading the league in goals and assists. So they're doing a great job. They're dangerous on the attack and moving the ball well. So they'll definitely present some challenges for us.
Is there what are some of the stars? Who are some of the kids that have really shined for you this year?
Well, I think it's been great to get Magali Depot back. She's our 5th year. She's finally able to play. She can't play the minutes we'd love to see her play yet. We're building her back in. But obviously getting her back on the field has made a huge difference for us. Izzy Smith has come over from LSUE in the transfer, and really we've had injuries to our front line, so she's been our lone striker for a while and has done a great job being that player. And then Rebecca Romero in the midfield as a freshman has come in and kind of taken over the starting role in the midfield, where early in the season she was playing 20 minutes a game, so she's really shined.
Is there anything you want to see your team do that it hasn't done yet? How much do you want to see it grow over the next couple weeks?
Yeah, I think for us, certainly, that we'd like to see, we love what we're doing defensively. We love our organization. I think they're working really hard. We'd like to see valuing possession a little more. I think if you look at time of possession stats, we're pretty low on that, and we're okay with not winning that battle, but we need to value having the ball a little more than we have been.
What kind of crowds do you get?
I'm hoping for a good one Sunday. Should be a good game. Now that it's cooled down, Sunday should be a little easier to be out there. It's tough on a Sunday out there. Friday night, we get a great crowd.
Yeah, Sunday night you're going up against the NFL.
Yeah, I don't know how much the NFL impacts us as much as it being 108 degrees and hot metal bleachers. I think that's tough for the fans.
Well, they changing men's basketball to Monday night for fans. You should get them to change soccer.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'd be all for playing in the evenings at least.
At least. Drew Fitzgerald is with us. A couple of last quick questions for you. When you're building a program, like you had to restart the program, have you been able to keep kids here? Like we see the transfer portal all the time. Are you re-recruiting your kids all the time like everybody else?
Yeah, I think in every sport you need to continue to value the players you have to keep them here. But we've been really fortunate. We've had the only transfers we've had, mostly, I guess we've had 1 or 2, but have been 5th years that have graduated from here and are ready to go do a master's degree somewhere. But yeah, we are constantly, trying to make sure we're treating our players right and with respect and encouraging them and trying to help them accomplish their goals. That's the whole game, is right, get them to graduation and help them get where they want to be.
And what would an NCAA tournament bid mean for you?
I think it'd obviously be huge to get in. I think for us, we're looking a little, I don't want to say looking beyond that. We got to get in. We haven't done that yet, obviously, but we really want to be the first team to win a tournament game, and that's the program we're trying to build. I don't know if we're there yet, but certainly we found a style of play that allows us to compete with anybody.
How do you get the pipeline from California? Where did that pipeline come from?
I'm
from California.
There's National Recruiting League, so we go to tournaments. There's like 5 spots that you can recruit kids from all over the country.
Does the culture shock them?
They like it. A lot of them like it. It is a culture. There's definitely a culture shock. The heat and humidity shocks them the most, I'd say.
Yeah. Well, just when I came from California, I know that just about everything shocked me the first
yeah, I
first
think
year.
There's a culture, but you'll find people come back. Crawfish is shocking to them the first time, and by their senior years, they're digging into that. So they're like natives at that point.
All right. Thank you. Drew Fitzgerald joined us for the first part here on the PokeCast. Big game against Lamar. I guess a big match against Lamar. On the pitch.
We're fine with either one. Field, pitch is fine.
Field and pitch is okay. 1 o'clock Sunday against Lamar. First place is kind of on the line. We'll see you there. Hopefully people will show up for you.
Yeah, we'd love to have you out there.
All right, thanks for joining us, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach Drew Fitzgerald. When we get back, Gary Goff will join us after this.
Mr. Bill's Seafood Express, located at 500 East McNeese Street in Lake Charles, is locally owned and operated. Don't forget to check out Mr. Bill's Seafood Express daily lunch specials Monday through Friday. Mr. Bill's Seafood Express also has live music every Thursday and Saturday night. Chad Poussaint and Jason Guillory, the owners of Mr. Bill's Seafood Express, proudly support the McNeese Cowboys. Mr. Bill's Seafood Express, 500 East McNeese Street in Lake Charles, says go Pokes.
The McNeese PokeCast is also brought to you by Keelan Construction. Keelan Construction is South Louisiana's leading vertical and horizontal general contractor. Keelan courageously pursues complex challenges to advance further the life and culture of our staff and the communities we serve. And also brought to you by Southwest Beverage. Rooted in the community of Southwest Louisiana since 1954, Southwest Beverage has been a family-owned and operated business for 3 generations. Bud Light and Southwest Beverage has been a loyal supporters of McNeese State University for over 30 years by providing athletic scholarships as well as scholarships for students. We pride ourselves on being the premier beverage supplier in Southwest Louisiana and will continue to be here for many years to come. Thank you for your support of our brands and McNeese Athletics, and as always, go Pokes.
We're back at Mr. Bill's Seafood across from campus. Gary Goff is now joining us. Coach, it's football time now. Let's talk. We just talked football. Now we'll talk.
Well, good. I just walked off the practice field. Let's go. I'm still in football mode.
International football. We'll talk American football now. How's that?
Good.
All right. So, strange week. A couple of kids are off.
Yeah.
A lot of people talking about Trey Simmons, obviously a quarterback who was fighting for the starting job.
Yep.
Do these things? Do you find that these things can sometimes bring a team closer together? What's your take on that?
Well, I think anytime you recruit a handful of quarterbacks and somebody doesn't win the job, you could probably expect somebody to want to transfer. And I get that. The timing is not, I don't think the timing is great. You'd like to finish the job right. But it's his decision. That's all we need to really talk about. And I wish him well. No harm will there at all. But at the same time, I've stood behind Nate this entire time. There's a reason he is the starting quarterback, and he's going to continue getting better and better. And Nate's got my full support, and there's not a quarterback controversy.
No, that was apparent. Talking to a couple of guys yesterday, and I asked Nate, does it kind of help because now you're not going to be looking over your shoulder at all or anything? And
how do you answer that?
He said, I was never looking over their shoulder.
Oh, good for him. Yeah, I don't know the real answer there, but good for him.
He said, I never considered it. I never worried about it anyway. So there you go. Yeah. But one thing we have seen is Nate has kind of stepped up a little bit the last couple of weeks, 196 and 199. He's also found John McCall. They're kind of getting in a little bit of a rhythm. Talking to them yesterday. Is this kind of starting to be what you want to see? Because there's still a lot of freshmen on the other side. Yeah,
no doubt. I think John is becoming our playmaker in that receiver room. He's matured a lot in the last 6 months. And he's just a big target, got strong hands and good speed. So, I'm really excited about that room, their continued development. Just walking off the practice field right now, we had 3 freshmen score in today's practice, going good on good. So, those guys are a lot of fun because they're out there excited and working hard right now. And Nate can make any throw on the field. He's got a cannon for an arm. We just got to, continue putting him in the best possible situations we can.
There's one thing that you have said about him, though. You like that he's a gunslinger, but then again, at times
he's a gunslinger.
How do you judge not taking his aggressiveness, but making sure he's aggressively wise, I guess?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think just continue talking to him about situational football. Hey, we need the first down right here. And if this guy's open, there's no reason to throw the home run ball over top. Yeah. So you like the aggressiveness, but it's got to be controlled aggression and continue taking what the defense has given us. And there's some plays he would like to have back because he was aggressive and he was trying to make that big throw, but just continue preach and take what the defense gives you, and the big plays will happen, but night and day between how he attacks things and how we were a year ago. So as a coach, you want to see that. You want the coach, I can make any throw and make every play. You want that attitude, but it does have to be kind of harnessed at times.
Okay, the big question now isn't we had an interesting give and take at the press conference the other day when I said, is Trey still your number 2 and things like that, which kind of led me to wonder what was going on.
Sure.
Who is the number 2 now? Is it Ryan Roberts?
Yeah, I'd say right this moment it'd be Ryan Roberts. He's got some experience behind him for sure. And then outside of that, you got Camden Six Killer, who was one of our high recruits, and he's got a big arm and he's athletic and can run. So he's getting reps now. And then you still got Davion Wilson that could get a couple reps here and there. So, we still have some guys, but they're young guys, right? They're freshmen,
they're young.
But Six Killer is extremely smart. He's got a big arm himself. He hadn't had a ton of reps, obviously, since camp, but he's getting reps now. But Ryan Roberts.
With that being said, you get 4 games to play them, freshmen.
Yeah.
Will we see spots at times, do you think, and get them some action? Or?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like I said, Six Killer, he's the sky's the limit for him. It really is. He's extremely talented. But being a true freshman is hard enough to play. But then being a true freshman playing quarterback is extremely difficult. But there could be times where you see spots where Six Killer or Roberts is in there.
Ryan Roberts is an interesting guy because he always seems to pop up again. Last year he started 2 games that you won.
Yeah.
Played in a third that you won. He just kind of hangs on. He looks like he got better during camp. Do you like him a little better this year?
Ryan is cool, calm, and collect. Nothing rattles him. Nothing gets him extremely excited. He knows the offense. He's our signal guy. And, he's kind of, hey, Ryan, get in there. Okay. And then he just goes in there and runs the offense. And then, Ryan, hey, get out. Why'd you do that here? I just thought he was open there. He's so even keel, which is nice, right? But he's a coach's kid. His dad's a defense coordinator for Auburn. He gets it. He gets the big picture of everything. And, the guy is he's a workhorse. He's in the weight room every day, and he knows the offense very well. So I got a lot of confidence in Ryan.
Gary Goff is with us, McNeese State football coach. Okay, not the kind of start you wanted 0-5.
Nope.
I think we know that. Let's talk a little bit about the Nichols game, because it seemed like you plugged up one of the holes everybody worried about, which was the running game. Colin Guggenheimer didn't go crazy on you until the end.
Right.
But then some other things popped up, the 4 turnovers,
yeah,
and especially the 10 penalties. Is that the frustrating thing, is that as you solve these things with young players, that the next thing comes up and you got to plug another hole?
Yeah, absolutely. We hadn't had that many penalties since we'd been here.
Yeah.
And then I know there's some questionable calls, but there's always questionable calls, so that's nothing to complain about. No doubt 7 of those penalties were the perfect calls. We committed those penalties. We got to be better. We can't have the silly mistakes where you're jumping off sides, or you're rushing the quarterback and you grab the face mask, or you're shooting your hands to the offensive line and your hand slips up and hits them in the face mask and tears their helmet off. Those are self-inflicted wounds. And then, starting the game off, defense got to stop, got them off the field, and then we fumbled the punt return.
Yeah.
Just a heartbreaker right there, because, again, you're trying to get momentum, and that was a big turning point for us right there, getting the defense off right to start the game, playing exactly how we did, and then that happens. And then a lot of other things from there continue to snowball. The pick 6 right before half was another just big critical mistake right there. Those 2 plays really kind of changed the outcome of the game. Outside of that, we were playing pretty good ball. Then the penalties started racking up there. But, very, very frustrating. It's like we got to go through every teaching moment, this season for whatever reason.
Yeah, and the big mistake probably on the punt was trying to field it inside the 5 to start with.
Well,
that puts you
absolutely. You always heels on the 10. We talk about that all the time. Heels on 10, don't back up. And then the next thing, just fair catch it. You just fair catch. You got 4 guys in your face, and that's why it was a difficult catch. So definitely a critical mistake right there to start the game.
But the good parts, there were some good parts, but you did outgain them. Your defense played pretty well.
Yeah.
Especially the back end.
They definitely played good enough to win, without a doubt.
So, do you have a couple kids coming back this week from injuries for the back end that could help? Or
we do.
Are you getting some kids back?
We got Javon Davis back. John was our starting corner. First game of the year, he broke his forearm and had surgery. They put a plate in there. He's been out for the last 4 weeks. He's casted up right now, but he's been practicing all week. So he's able to bounce from our nickel position to our corner position. So great to get him back, another long physical corner. Jalen Jackson has been playing with a torn labrum. So he's kind of had to rehab that the last 2 weeks, but he's practiced all week too. So it's another safety that we're getting back right there. And then up front, we got a couple guys out with some injuries. But outside of that, we're banged up a little bit. Everybody is this time of year. We've got some ankles here and there, but everybody else is playing with the exception of Jonquay Lewis. Jonquay's got a high ankle sprain and will not be playing this Saturday.
Okay. So getting a little bit healthier
Yep.
at least. If you have a question for Coach Goff, raise your hand. We'll get a microphone out to you. Yep, we got one coming up right here. We'll try to keep them as sane as we can. How's that?
That's good.
Just be polite about them. It can be rough. They just got to be polite. And state your name and give us a question.
I noticed in Illinois that the position coaches, when their people were on the sideline, they were not in their face, they were coaching them in groups. I really enjoyed seeing that, and I was wondering why it took so long into the season for y'all to start doing that.
So I'll tell you what the difference there was, right? So because we're a young team, I really thought that we would continue on from where we did last year, meaning, we learned how to play together as a team. We had a winning streak to end the season. And, me probably being a little naive that, hey, the team's growing and we've learned that. But when you step back and look at it with 57 newcomers, only 4 seniors, we didn't pick up where we left off because there was so much roster change, right? But put a lot of time and effort in our leadership development with our tag holders, right? There's 7 of them. And, you're strong by numbers, right? Strength by numbers. Well, our leaders are still trying to lead, but the strength of the numbers is the young guys who maybe aren't following the leaders at times. So after the Alcorn game, we made a big decision on us coaches now have to be the leaders all the way through. We're too young right now to have leadership in our program. So it's got to come from the coaches. And I mean, even to the extent to where we're at practice and we're warming up doing exercises, we've got coaches spread out everywhere. And if one person isn't counting loud, we restart the whole thing over. And when we break down, when the entire team breaks down, every single coach is in there really tight. If one person's not in there tight, we do it over again. So, probably my mistake, to be honest, by kind of assuming we do have that leadership there. We just don't right now. So the leadership's got to continue coming from us coaches all the time. And then at Eastern Illinois, we also had to create our own energy. So the entire time I'm telling the coaches, hey, you better be the most excited coach on the sideline. I get you're over there coaching, but after you make those corrections on the bench, now you've got to get on the sideline and you got to start cheering for the other side of the ball like we talk to the players all the time. So, as coaches are human too. We get in the coaching mode, but yet we still need to be the biggest cheerleaders for the other side of the ball when they're out there on the field. So that's the difference you saw that week. I thought the guys were still coaching hard like that last week. We got to continue pushing the envelope right there. The excitement, the energy, the leadership has to all come from the coaches right now. It's just where we're at.
You got a question over here. Right over here. State your name and give us your question.
Lawrence Lupo, McNeese class of 1971. I'm a dinosaur. Okay? So all this NIL and transfer, that's not my thing. But in order to compete, I'm just wondering, in your recruiting this past year and coming up, when you're sitting in front of a recruit and his family or talking to him, any recruit, transfer, high school, doesn't matter. And the list of questions that they have, how much are you going to pay me to play come, A, and B, I know we've got this ranch fund, I guess they call it, in competing with both the Southland Conference and FCS schools across the country. How are we stacking up with that?
Well, I mean, that's a great question, right? I don't think anybody really knows that answer, right? So obviously NIL's out there. Do we get that question? We get the question, do we have any part or say so? I mean, no, and all we can do is tell them that, hey, our school is got the ranch, and outside of that, they get to kind of hire whoever they want to represent the ranch, right? It's not like at FBS or Division I and other sports. It's just not like that at our level. It's more so at that level. We've had some recruits. We recruited a young man last year from a school that one of my coaches worked out, recruited this young man and coached him. Good player. He only scored 2 touchdowns at his previous school, okay? Well, he got $150,000 to go to an FBS school. So we're not in that world. We never will be. So we do get those questions, but at the same time, we can't sit here and tell this young man, hey, I guarantee you come here, you're gonna get a NIL. We don't know those things. We just don't. I don't know how many schools in our conference really have that, to be honest. I mean, I'm excited we have the ranch. I don't know exactly necessarily what that means, for us as far as that recruiting. I don't know if other schools in our conference have something like that. I'm sure they do, but nothing to the extent like these FBS programs do. We'll lose recruits to Troy, to La Tech, to places like that because they're going to give the kid $15,000, $20,000 to come there. So we don't get in those conversations. It's out there. I think recruiting sometimes you're going to strike gold. I've done this 25 years. I've recruited a a receiver my size, he played 10 years professional ball. He's a junior Olympian. If he was to walk in this door right now, nobody in here would say, that guy played a long time professionally. But he was a superstar. I've also recruited guys that they walk in this door right here like, that's Cam Newton's twin. That dude can help us, and he can't do it, right? So sometimes you hit a home run, sometimes you don't. That's just why it's called recruiting. I think one thing I'm going to be really, really hard on this upcoming year is not let my coaches fall in love with the recruit. And we're going to be more about, is this young man check all the boxes for our standards, tough attitude and discipline. I'm not going to fall in love with his size and his speed. I'm going to fall in love with this school, this coach. Everybody I've talked to said this young man right here gives 100% effort 100% of the time. This young man right here has one of the best attitudes you're ever going to find, coach. Like, I don't want to hear about their ability. I'm going to see that in person. I want to hear about their character. And honestly, we probably missed on 3 or 4 guys in that area because we fell in love with, oh my gosh, this guy can fly. He can score for us. We need him. And that young man's not with us right now. So we can't fall in love with recruits based off of film. We need to fall in love with the person, and are they going to fit into our culture?
Also, to help answer your question about the ranch, this is the first year of the ranch. So there hasn't been a football recruiting cycle through it yet. I think we're all kind of wondering how much is going to be in it, how much it can influence it. Lamar has a similar one as far as the Southland goes. Nobody else has a similar one in the Southland. One question before we hit the break I want to ask you, though. When you rebuilt the team at Tiffin, there was a lot of different landscape. How much has the landscape changed, and how much is that changing how you have to try to rebuild a program? Because you're when you had a kid at Tiffin, you pretty much had him for 4 years or 3 years or something. Now you're almost re-recruiting as you go. How much does that have to change, and how much time do you spend doing that?
Well, there's some similarities in the fact that I shared the story when I first got here, but at Tiffin, my first year, I think it was the 3rd or 4th game of the season, we were on a trip, and both buses reeked of marijuana. And I called the AD and the president while I was on this 14-hour bus ride and told them that if I was going to be their head coach moving forward, I wanted to test the entire travel party, and anybody that failed that test, I was not going to coach them. And they let me. They let me. So we dismissed 32 players that Sunday when we got back from the trip. That Sunday, we got off the bus, we went straight into the weight room, and we tested everybody that traveled. So we started at ground level. Difference there too is we didn't have APR and we didn't have the portal, right? So I didn't have to renew somebody that wasn't making grades and I thought might be doing something wrong, so we cut them immediately. Then we played true freshmen for the next 2 years, and then we were really hard on leadership development at that point. That's when I really started investing in bringing in professionals to train the staff and the team. And then we were very strict on, that guy's a great player, but I just don't know. I think he's not all about the team, and he's very selfish. And it paid off. It ended up paying off. Now, it did take some time. Now, the difference today is, though, we have the portal. And I'm so proud, again, without naming any names, we've got a young man on the team right now that is new here and is a great player. If I told you who he was, you'd be like, oh, yeah, he's a dude, right? And he called me Saturday night late, texted me Saturday night late after the game, and he said, Coach, I'm here with you. We're going to ride and die together on this. He goes, we will be great. He goes, I believe in you, Coach. And that's what we're preaching to him, right? But he told me this. He goes, these guys that want to leave us, you're right. They're not all in. He goes, and Coach, why does somebody want to leave a disciplined program to go to another program just to be disciplined? He goes, we don't need those type of quitters around us. And I just, even though I was in the dumps, I just kind of smiled and said, hey, at least I'm reaching one guy. At least I'm reaching one guy right now. But there's a lot like that in the team, and it's true. If you really want to be a part of something special and win, there's going to be discipline. And we run a tight ship, but we also love these young men to death as well. And for some to say, well, y'all are treating me unfairly. Well, no, you didn't get your study hall this week. That's why you're doing the extra conditioning. I mean, there's consequences, right? So to get back to answering your question there, I think there are some similarities, but the portal makes it easy for some people to just quit and jump ship right in the middle of the tough times. And that's just where we're at. We're not going to beg anybody to stay with us, but that's the difference in now and back then.
Gary Goff is our guest. We'll have him back after this on the PokeCast. We'll talk about the changing rule of the NCAA portal today after this.
The McNeese PokeCast is also brought to you by Southwest Louisiana Credit Union. Southwest Louisiana Credit Union now offers an account just for McNeese students. It's the blue and gold checking account. All it takes is $5 to get you in. You get a free debit card, online and mobile banking, and access to a smart ATMs. There's no service charge. You can even get free financial counseling. That's why Southwest Louisiana Credit Union is now the official credit union for McNeese students and McNeese athletics. Find out more at swlacu.com. To open a blue and gold checking account, go by Southwest Louisiana Credit Union at 4056 Ryan Street, about a block away from campus. Membership is required. As the oldest athletic booster organization at McNeese, the McNeese Cowboy Club is proud to continue providing support to all McNeese athletes for 49 years. We meet every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. in the Cowboy Club room located over the south end zone with talks from coaches and other leaders in McNeese athletics. Come join us and discover what being a McNeese athletic booster is all about. And go Pokes.
We're back with Gary Goff from Mr. Bills, right across campus here at McNeese State University on the PokeCast, brought to you by Math. All right, Coach, we have a question from the crowd right now from you.
All right, Coach.
Hey, state your name, please.
Matthew Bonnet.
He's a regular. He's a regular.
Hey, I read somewhere today that a series was signed, a home-and-home series with Weber State. What does it mean to play a team like that from the Big Sky, out of conference, out of region, at another high-level FCS conference?
Yeah,
wait a minute. Where'd you read that? He wrote it.
He wrote it, or you wrote it?
He wrote it.
He wrote it. He already knows the answer.
Yeah.
No, I mean, look, I know we're in a building process right now, but it's still a program that is in the playoffs, and that's where we want to be, is in the playoffs and then play for championships. So we got to have the mindset that we'll play anybody, any place, anywhere. That coupled with finding games right now is impossible. You know, it's just impossible. And then, you know, it's very possible here in the near future that if the SEC continues to grow like they are, that all the future games we have contracted could disappear. And then we need even more games. You know, so you know, you can ask Matt Fontenot, he'll tell you that the scheduling right now in football is a nightmare at this level. You know, we're already trying to schedule games 7 years from now, and if you're not doing that, you're behind, because most teams are full 7-8 years out. So,
yeah, I think it's a good thing that you're going to play those teams FBS and get them back in here to come down here and play. I think is the bigger thing for you guys.
Yes.
Because a lot of the complaints from fans has always been
we're
who
traveling.
You're playing. And why you always got to travel to Montana or Montana State or something like that? What do we do to get them in here?
Yep.
So that's actually a good thing. Oh, we got another question here. Wow, question tonight.
Thank you, Coach. My name is Keith Romero, all the way from north of Karen Crow, about 90 miles from here. But anyway, it's worth the visit. I have a question. How do you handle the attrition versus recruiting? And I'll be specific. You have about 29 or 30 players. About 1/3 of your roster that's transfers, either junior college or Division II, a couple from FBS, and then about 1/3 or a little over 1/3 from high schools that you're trying to develop. And your roster shows that. It's very young. Layered on top of that, you lost 3 coaches this year, your quarterback coach and your defensive line coach, and there was another coach.
My receivers coach took a head job.
The receivers coach, that's correct.
Felton.
Because Felton got a head coaching job. Good for him. Then you bring in new players, but the players that remain, one says, well, this quarterback coach believed in me. I like his system. Now I got a brand new one. How do you handle that coaching transition as opposed to the transition and attrition that happened just because of the portal?
Yeah.
You have guys that are I look at it this way, Coach. It's like Major League Baseball to me because I follow it. You have single A, you have high A and low A. And then as you go higher, you get more power and you get more speed and you get more talent. The same thing's happening in colleges. You start with A, which is junior college, high school, and by the time you're finished and you're AAA, your recruiting grounds, you're Power 5, you're there for the recruiting of the NFL. It's essentially minor leagues for the NFL. How do you handle that transition? Because it's not going to stop.
Yeah, I'll start with the coaches. Coach Huggins got a head job, and I was excited for him. If you hire good people, they're going to continue their career. They're going to get bigger jobs. And I was told very early on as being a head coach, hire the best person you possibly can right then and there, and don't worry about, but this guy over here might stay with me for 10 years. No, you want to hire the best people because they're going to continue moving their career. And that's part of my job is let them, learn and develop, right? So the coaching change, it doesn't really bother me. Most of my coaches have been with me for quite some time. Now, there are changes that give you an opportunity to get better. Just being nice about some things there, right? But then going to the players, the quarterback room was revamped completely. That one was easy. The receivers coach I was able to bring in, very excited about Coach Roundtree. He's played at the highest level. He's one of the all-time leading receivers at Michigan. He meshes with the staff and the players phenomenal. I mean, he is a sharp guy that is a grinder, right? So he's fit in great. And then the quarterback coach I brought in is Adam Neugebauer, who played for me, was an All-American quarterback for me, and has been away for like the last 6 years away from me. He used to work for me as well. But, so that part's easy. Now, going into the recruits and the attrition and all that, I don't think anybody has a great answer on that because, again, we just talked about, sometimes when young men are upset because it's not their moment to play, or they're upset because you're holding them to a certain standard. It's easy for them to say, I'm just going to enter the portal. I don't have any control over that. None. And once a young man tells me that, he's entering the portal, I'm not going to beg anybody to be a Cowboy. I'm just not. Because you know what? They're going to quit on you. They're going to quit on you at some other point. Right? So we just keep moving forward. We want the tough-nosed young men and families in our program that we can build off of. Now, I'm so excited about our freshmen. Somebody asked me the other day, have you ever played this many freshmen before? I had to at Tiffin, but since then, no. But they're so much fun to coach. They're so excited to get on the field and play. I'm the only one stressing about them playing because they're not quite ready. But just take last week, for instance, we had a drive where Corey O'Brien, who just this time last year was a great player at his high school, is on the field, and the first ball thrown to him, he catches it for 15 yards and is the most excited person with a big smile on his face, and he was so calm and effortless making that catch. Then right before that, Jermichael Carter, who was another receiver that was highly recruited, made a big play and was ecstatic. The sidelines cheering for him. So we told these players that, hey, you're going to have a chance to come here and be part of something special to change, but you're also going to have a chance to come here and play early, right? And they have. At this level, that there might be a little bit of a trend for that, right? Because I also know this, our best player is going to be cherry-picked from us because of the question earlier about the NIL. I can't get a player a $150,000 NIL deal, right? So we got some former Cowboys that play for LSU right now, right? That left before I got here. So that's just part of college football now. There's nothing we can do to stop that. I do believe that you always got to have a great high school class. You have to. And one thing we've talked about as a staff, we're going to go after a couple of, junior college guys. We're going to go after a couple of guys out of the portal. However, we like this guy. He's talented. He fits who we are. If we lose that young man to Southern Miss, which we have a lot of things like that happen, let's not reach deep into that barrel and let's just get the next guy. No, let's go get the best high school player then. Because I think after having these two freshman classes, it's okay to go back and get some other freshmen because these guys now are going to be redshirt freshmen and sophomores. We don't have to go get a transfer that's just not going to fit who we are. And again, coaches make that mistake at times because you fall in love with, he's a transfer from LSU. Boy, he can come here and help us. Maybe not. There's a reason he's leaving LSU. So,
I think that you probably learned that this year because you only have four seniors. So that you have to count on freshmen. You really had to use a different way to build classes, didn't you?
Right. Absolutely. I mean, the days like, when McNeese was rocking and rolling, they were freshman class after freshman class. There was no transfers or very few, and there was no
20 a year.
Yeah, and there was no junior college, right? Well, it's hard to build a program that way nowadays because of the portal. Because of things we just talked about. You might have a sophomore who's upset they can't go anywhere. By junior, senior, they're bought in and they're molded.
Question over here.
Hey, Coach Goff. Hey. You know me. I've asked a lot of questions in the past. Here's an easy one for you. Yes or no? The player who called you late after the game, was that number 8, 48, or 61? Yes or no?
No.
Whoa, I'm surprised.
No.
Named half the roster almost.
Yeah. Keep throwing numbers out. No. It was a much lower number, but no.
Question for you about Commerce.
Yeah.
You're playing Commerce this week. They're also winless. They have a brand new coach, a coach who came from arena football. What do you see when you get in arena football? How do you scout that? Do you have to just go with what's been on tape so far? Can you scout that?
Yeah, I did not go get any arena football film to break them down.
What have you seen from him, though? Have you seen any strange things because of arena?
No, we really haven't. They played 4 games. They played Stephen F. Austin a week ago, and Stephen F. Austin did some really good things against them. The week before that, they played Old Dominion, and they were in that game with them. I mean, that game ended up being 10-9. And Old Dominion's a good program.
Yeah, but that was a little bit of the tropical storm thing.
Well, yeah, but I mean, on film, the weather's not bad on the film. But really, what they did is they came out with a brand new defense against them, and it shocked them. Like ODU had no clue what to do and how to attack it, and it really shell shocked them. And that game was 3-0 halfway through the third quarter with Commerce winning. Right. Yeah. Now, no disrespect, but ODU's definitely not the Gators, right?
Yeah.
But still, Commerce went out there and did something off the wall and had success. They showed a little bit of that against Stephen F. So to answer your question, who knows what in the world they're going to show up and do this Saturday night. So we've been preparing for a little bit of everything and a little bit of the unexpected, right? I think anytime you got 2 teams that are struggling, you're fighting to grab the momentum. Right, you're fighting to grab that momentum. So, we're prepared for them to fake punt, surprise onside, trick reverse pass, double, all this stuff that could spark somebody. So, we're throwing everything in our team this week in preparation of something crazy.
Gary Goff is our guest. We'll be back after this on the PokeCast.
The McNeese PokeCast is also brought to you by Twisted Vines. They offer residential and commercial lawn and landscaping maintenance, irrigation and drainage installation and repairs, outdoor landscaping, lighting, holiday and event light installation also with 3D drawings. Contact Ryan Boyd at 337-274-2267 or email info@twistedvineslc.com. Like them on Facebook and follow on Instagram at twistedvineslc. If you mention you heard the Twisted Vines on the PokeCast, you will receive a 10% discount off your purchase. And Pompelli Tire, official tire store of McNeese Athletics. Experts in tires, EV-specific tires as well. We do more than just tires. Mechanical work as well. A full-time mechanic is on site at all times to help in your needs.
Final minutes here from Mr. Bills across campus on the PokeCast. First one of September. Obviously not in October you want to talk about much, or September you want to talk about much, as we're into October. But you mentioned a little bit about Commerce going to do weird things.
Good, yes.
Do you kind of feel like you guys have to kind of do something to kind of jumpstart things? No, I'm not saying give anything away, but do you feel like you have to get something going early and quick just to kind of get confidence going?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, it's a game of momentum, right? And we haven't grabbed any momentum anywhere right now. That's not true. I mean, we did there at Eastern Illinois. We were hot that first half, right? But yes, to answer your question, that you've got to have some spark. You've got to grab that momentum and run with it. I told the team this today. We kind of got to take our own medicine a little bit, or I got to take my own medicine a little bit. We preach about our values, tough attitude, and discipline. And I told them today, I said, I don't know why we're going through tough times like this. I go, but maybe it's because of this. Maybe we're learning how to be so much more mentally tougher than anybody else on our schedule that we can make it through anything. I go, because our conference is still wide open. Heck, the team that won the conference a year ago is in the same boat we are.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of football left. And if we're sitting here 5-0, we're all happy and having a great time at practice and working hard with a smile on our face. So my challenge to them all week has been, why can't we flip our mind? Why can't we be mentally tougher than anybody else we're going to see this year and go practice like we're 5-0? And I tell you, we had a great practice the last 2 days, and I give the players a lot of credit. They've had smiles on their faces. They're taking the coaching. They're running around, being excited, and that's hard for these young men right now, right? When they're not having a whole lot of love, and they're getting tough love from us every day.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about a couple of players that played pretty well in some scrimmages in the spring that haven't gotten a lot of time. One of them being Roberts, the running back. Could you see more of people like him?
Yeah.
As we move forward, as you kind of are searching for as guys get hurt, guys come up?
Absolutely. Ivory's traveling this week again. He's traveled, but no, he'll have some role this week. We got a couple guys back there a little banged up, and there's another one too. Luke McMullen is another true freshman, but is one of the fastest guys on the team. So he's another one there in that backfield that can get a couple reps here and there this week.
The receiving core, which you've been hard on at times, a lot of kids playing, a lot of kids getting their first touches this week. What are you seeing in that? Because talking to both John McCall and Nate this week, they've seen a lot of growth from some of the kids, especially Mekhi Paris.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, Mekhi, Jamichael Carter, Corey O'Brien, it's hard being a true freshman and playing. It really is. But those guys are getting better every week, and they got a bright future. They really do. And then you got people like Jalen Henry. Jalen Henry has quietly been a workhorse for us in that receiver room, and he does kind of the dirty work. He's the physical blocker. He'll go dig out a linebacker. I mean, he pretty much does anything you ask of him. But we still got a long ways to go in that room, but I'm very excited about the future with that receiving core. We got some electric players in there.
What are you going to see from Commerce? Or you said you don't know what to expect. They could do anything. What do you expect to see at least to start? Basic stuff or wild stuff?
No, I expect to see a lot of zero coverage. Them loading the box with 8 defenders in the box and kind of daring us to win outside with our receiving core. They're going to load the box to stop the run and stop the quarterback run and make us throw the ball. That's what I expect. That's what they did to ODU, and we're very successful of it. They did some of that to Stephen F. Austin. Stephen F. Austin did make them pay at times, and then Stephen F. had a really good balanced attack. They ran the ball very well, but their receivers made big plays downfield because, I mean, honestly, in our offense where we want to be, you can't ask for anything better. Yeah. I mean, please heat us up and play zero coverage because one big catch is a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, in order for that to happen, in order for that to work for you, you've got to make them pay.
You got to make plays.
You've had opportunities this year, even going all the way back to the starting game, the first play of the year.
Yeah.
First play of the year could have been a touchdown.
Yeah.
And then who knows where
Who knows
we are.
what one play. Yes.
But you've got to make them pay.
Well, even last week, we got behind the defense twice, and one underthrew just a little bit, and the other one we didn't come up with a catch. Eastern Illinois, we got behind the defense late in the game right there. You make that tough catch, and it's ball game over, right? But that's again, that room there being young, a little inconsistent. But I think that consistency will continue to develop with confidence. And that even though they're young, they are a confident group.
You said that it was a good week of practice. You don't feel there's panic in the team, do you?
I don't. I don't feel this week's practice is any different than 3 weeks ago. I mean, I really don't. Now, they care a lot. I mean, they're heartbroken after every game. A win would mean everything to us, right? These guys are working hard, and I'll tell you what, I'm extremely proud of them. And I know that's not people think that might be a crazy statement, but I'm so proud of how they have showed up with good attitudes and taking the coaching and putting smiles on their face. There's no quitting us. There's not going to be any quitting us. We talk about that on a daily basis. Tough times don't last. Tough people do, and I truly believe in that, and good things happen to good people. So we're going to keep that mindset and keep attacking.
It's strange to have your fifth game in 6 outings to be 2 winless teams.
It's a weird year. It's a weird year. It's strange to have 4 road games out of your first 6 games.
Yeah.
Like that's weird. That's another thing. I really didn't think that the 4 straight road games this early in the year would be that big of a deal. It's been a little bit of a grind, especially those 3 straight weeks of being on the road. And again, being a young, inexperienced group, it kind of shows a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, is that because it's so? I mean, you got guys that made their first flights,
first time traveling, first time playing.
In a hotel. You had a lot of things that had to come up.
Absolutely. I mean, when you get asked, hey, Coach, is it okay if we get in the jacuzzi before a curfew? No. We're not getting in the jacuzzi. That dehydrates you. What are you talking about? What do you mean, Coach? I mean, there's so much they don't know. Yeah. We get questions on the road. Coach, why do we eat spaghetti and chicken every pregame meal? It's not for your taste. It's for the carbohydrates that we needed to fuel our body for 4 quarters of football. So there's just so much to it that they don't quite understand.
They're not used to.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. You got a bye week after this.
Thank goodness.
But you really, how much would it mean for you guys to have a win going into the bye week? Just to calm things down.
It means everything. It really does. It means everything. But at the same time, I'm not putting that type of pressure on the team. I keep telling them, look, we're going to go take care of our business this week, on and off the field, and that's going to give us a great opportunity to come away with a win Saturday night. And if we don't work hard and don't take care of those things, we're not setting ourselves up for success. So we continue preaching that message all week long, and so far the guys are taking care of business all week.
What will it take to beat Commerce? Obviously hanging on to the football, number 1.
Yeah, we need to play clean football, right? I mean, it's as simple as playing clean football and making plays, right? You've got to make plays. Every game comes down to 3 or 4 crucial plays, and we need to make those crucial plays and not shoot ourselves in the foot with these penalties. It blows my mind that we had 11 penalties last week, and we didn't have even half that against some better opponents. So we got to make sure that we are calm, play hard for 4 quarters, and play some clean football.
Yeah, I've never seen 3 hands to the face penalty. Basically in a half.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. We've coached hard against it this week. It's something we really never had to coach hard against, but when it shows up in a game like that, there's something wrong.
Are you finding with a young team that you're doing that a lot? Things that pop up that never happened before?
Yeah, I mean, somebody asked, do y'all believe fundamentals are important? Well, absolutely. We believe fundamentals are important, right? These freshmen, they're still learning how to play fundamentally football the way we want to play. I think one thing we talked about earlier in the week is, we had a lot of missed tackles there early on in the season, and it's because of the fundamentally, how to tackle, and we work on that. We start practice every day doing that. So I think the fundamentals are paying off in some areas, but in other areas they're not. So we got to continue stressing the importance of fundamental football.
You said they were going too fast into the ball carrier and that they weren't breaking down.
Yeah.
So they were being aggressive, but overly aggressive.
Which does not end in a tackle.
No, it does not. I remember that from my long, long time ago linebacker days. You want to go as hard as you can, but you want to make sure that
under control.
You watch the hips too. You got to watch their hips.
Absolutely.
Gary Goff's been our guest on the PokeCast tonight. I want to thank Coach for joining us at Commerce this week, 7 o'clock, right here on 92.9 The Lake. If you can't make it to Commerce, it's not a short trip.
It's not, but it's not the longest I've ever had either.
Okay, Coach, good luck.
Thank you. Go Pokes.
Go Poke. And, of course, a couple of other things to note at Commerce for football, soccer, Lamar on Sunday, and volleyball tomorrow night against Lamar at the Legacy Center. So go out and support McNeese. We'll see you next week on the PokeCast.